Hi, David. This is your father. Your mom is improving. I was at the hospital all day today, and they did give her some nourishment through the feeding tube. They say that it will just take time. After feeding, your mom had a physical therapist come by the room, and she was able to get up, and she walked towards the lobby. It's a long hallway with a rail, so she was doing well walking. She was not alone. She did have assistance from the physical therapist who was holding her. She made it to the double doors, almost outside, and so everyone said that she did well and asked if she wanted to do more, but she said that she was too tired. This is her first time walking with assistance, so she's doing good. She's strong. She's able to move her arms. Her legs are moving. She's able to squeeze fingers. Everything's looking really good. It just takes time. That's all it is. So now I will let you go. I just got home. I was at the hospital from 9 to 5:15, so I'm pulling long hours at the hospital. If you want to call, that's up to you. All right. Love you.
Love you, Dad.
This message has been left through Sorensen Video Relay Service.
Oh, man, that sounds bad. You should take care of that cough, Dad.
So much I can smell my own breath. My baby left me, my best friend's not at home. Can't get that woman off my mind. I've never been the brooding kind, but there's still one thing makes me come alive. Yeah.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's June 14th, 10:19 p.m. I'm in the caravan. You ready to go for a drive? I think you guys were cheering for the caravan. That's what it sounded like. Well, let's go for a drive. Thank you, Alex Exum, at the top of the show doing the voice intro. And thank you to Hal and Philly for doing the song Going for a Drive. Slightly less cowbell, but we'll just muddle on through with the original version. Great song. I hear it's being played on Crooked River Radio in a regular rotation because I mentioned it so much and they like it. So congratulations to Pat Morrow for, first of all, playing along with Dumbing It Down with Dave, giving it, the spin that it does on Monday nights at 8 p.m. And now when they are not playing podcasts and they play music, they're playing Going for a Drive. So let's hope that something comes of this. I really would think that would be fantastic if somewhere down the line this Going for a Drive song picks up a little steam. So I don't know when I'm going to get my royalties, but, that's okay. I get to use it at the top of the show, and we all get to enjoy it, and I like bringing everybody joy. So maybe Mile High Radio will pick it up. Lynn, Bobby, if you're listening, I'm not his agent, but Hal and Philly would love it if you pick up his song, if you're going to play it. Also, HamiltonRadio.net, if you guys are interested. I don't know what the story is over there as far as music, but give Hal a call. Tweet him, Hal and Philly, at Hal and Philly. Anyway, so thank you, Alex. Thank you, Hal. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to the Sorensen operator there for interpreting that very long message from my dad back in, I think it was October of 2018, just after my mom had the stroke. He was at the hospital all day. And then he, for whatever reason, called and left me a voicemail to tell me everything about the day. And instead of just leaving a message, hey, it's your dad, give me a call. So he went through the whole thing, and I got to hear it through a woman's voice. It's very soothing. And then at the end, she kind of gives a little cough, which was kind of amusing. But anyway, that's okay. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. And so that's it. So I'm in the Dodge Caravan. It's a little late. It's Sunday night. It's June 14th. It's 10:22 p.m. I'm sitting outside my house in the Dodge Caravan because I got to do a second show this week, and I haven't done a second show. I've been, kind of taking it a little bit easier. Normally I do a show Saturday on the way home, but I just didn't feel that was a good time for me for various reasons. Nothing important, worth sharing. Just want to let things sort of come about and see how it goes. And that's the beauty of not being a slave to the dollar as far as the podcast goes. Like I'm not owned by anybody. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody's in control of me. I work solo. And I think that's best for me because I call all the shots. And if I want to go, I go. If I don't want to go, I don't go. If I want to talk about this, I talk about that. So that works for me. I'm not sure what works for you or works for anybody else, but that works for me. And I think that gives me a chance to do a better podcast because I'm not forced to do it on Saturdays. And although I've been pretty much forcing myself to do almost 2 shows a week consistently now since I've been on these 3 internet radio stations, mostly just Mile High. I feel very obligated. They're waiting for a new hour from me, and I'll give them a new hour every week. And then, Crooked River Radio had a nice conversation with Pat Mauro the other day. I was a little confused by some things that I saw on the internet, which had nothing to do with him. It was just my brain being confused. And he sorted me out, which is great. I like being sorted out. I'm very sort-outable. I can be sorted. I'm like a letter. I'm like a U.S. mail letter. I can be sorted. And then I haven't had a chance to really follow up with Gene over there at HamiltonRadio.net. But apparently things are going good. I just emailed him a whole bunch of episodes, and I assume he's putting them in there at 5 o'clock on a Saturday. I haven't had a chance to listen. But I'm just trusting. I got to trust. I'd like to see the whole world do a little bit more of trusting. We're in a little bit of a crazy pattern here with craziness. We're still doing the COVID thing. And looks like I took a little bit of a break for the George Floyd's murder. Took a little break for the protest. Took a little break for the rioting and the looting. And now we're taking a break for the aftermath. Maybe I'll call the show the George Floyd Aftermath. But, where are we going to settle on all this? Where's all the dust going to fall? Where are we all going to be? Post-COVID is enough. Now we're post-COVID. Well, we're still in the middle of COVID. I don't know. I mean, it's very confusing. Are you confused? Some of you are not. Some of you are very clear. And I find that phenomenal, how you could be so clear. But I always find that phenomenal when people are very clear about things. Do I come across as clear about certain things? Maybe. But I'm really not. Pragmatism gives you the opportunity really to be flexible. Because you just want the truth. That's my pragmatism, as I always talk about. My pragmatism, I just want the truth. I would love some happiness, and during the search for it all, that's where I'm going. But I'm not that clear. I don't know if it's, I know people are calling it, fake, a hoax. It's just the flu. And, for a long time, I've had this relationship with God. And when I say I've had a relationship with God, I mean, it's a relationship. It's not a love fest. It's not a father and son, thing going on. It's a relationship, just like I have a relationship with everybody in the world and everybody in the street. So that's pragmatism. In other words, I don't have to say I'm religious, I love God, and I pray every day. I don't have to say that. I don't do that. That would be a lie. But I can say I have a relationship. I do. My relationship with God is the relationship I have. And my relationship with religion is the relationship I have with religion. And that's enough. That's pragmatism. Doesn't have to be a love fest. Don't have to be sitting on top. I don't have to go to church. I don't have to go to temple. Just do it. I just walk the walk. Well, you're supposed to talk the talk first, right? And then you walk the talk or walk the walk. But that's it. He's here with me now, if he wants to be. You know, there's plenty of room in the caravan, especially when I'm doing, you know, the podcast and going for a drive. Even though right now I'm going for a park. Just sitting here outside my house. But, you know, when I was younger, I would lay in my bed at 1381 Linden Boulevard in Brownsville, New York. And I would just lay there in my bed. Little David, full head of hair, not an ounce of fat on him. Some people would probably look at me and think I'm malnourished. But I just didn't have much of an appetite. Did I have anxiety? No, I just wanted my dad to come home and pat me on the head, let me know I'm a good boy. And I know he wouldn't read me a bedtime story. You know, he never read me a bedtime story, and I've never said that sentence till just now. I was just thinking about laying in my bed. I remember having Flintstones, Fred Flintstone. I remember having the Flintstones bed sheet, pillowcases. I don't know what other cartoonish type bed sheets I had. Anyway, I didn't have anxiety, really, maybe. I don't remember that much. I just remember that my father, you know, starting off really early in my life, we had this relationship where he would use my closet for storage, for his stuff. I wasn't allowed to have my own. My sister had no storage in her closet. I was the storage. I'm the storage now. Now, if for some reason she was to hear this show say, hey, that's not true. Well, right now that's the truth to me. But I don't remember stuff being in her closet. And I don't know if there's stuff at her house now. But I know there's stuff in my house. Her house got, you know, sort of wiped out by one of those hurricanes that we had. I never remember which one. Sandy, the other one, I can't remember. Eileen, Helen, whatever. Violet. So anyway, there's probably nothing there. It's probably all at my house. Well, now there's almost nothing. I don't know, there's stuff in the attic. But I would lay there in the bed, and I think at the top of the closet, as I would lay my head on the pillow, there was a closet in front of me, the storage unit that my father, you know, took over, my closet. And there was a suitcase at the top, but it was, there's a name for it. I don't know the name. It wasn't the hardcover, it was the softer one. And it had a buckle on the top. And it was brass. And I remember the brass, for some reason I would leave the door open. I don't know why I would leave the storage. Maybe because we couldn't close it because there was so much stuff in there for my dad. I don't remember. But the brass would reflect light from the street, even though I was on the 9th floor. It was reflecting light from somewhere. And I would make that light God. And I would lay there in my bed and I would talk to God. And I would, I wouldn't call it praying. I would just say, hey, God, you know, I really would like it if my dad this or my mom that. And I would like it if I had more friends. And I would like it if my parents would let me outside, you know, because we lived in Brownsville. And of course it was very dangerous. Why we lived there and, you know, said how dangerous it was. I don't know. But I guess it was an improvement from, actually, I was born in Crown Heights. So if you're not familiar with New York City, you don't know where that is. I was born in a hospital in Crown Heights. And I think at the time, my family actually lived in a community that was really brand new called Canarsie, which was right on the water, Jamaica Bay, Seaview. That's wait a minute, I'm not sure if that's a community, but Canarsie is a community. Seaview is like Seaview Avenue. A Seaview, S-E-A, Seaview, the view of the sea. So that was a big avenue down by the water. But they lived in a studio apartment there. But they never bought a house because apparently, according to my mom, my father's father was always a renter. You know, for a guy that worked on Wall Street, for a guy that fought in union marches, or he marched in union marches. I don't know how involved he was with the union, I forget. But, you know, he came out of the Depression era, worked in the fur trade, from what I understand, back in the day. And then somehow he ended up with a job on Wall Street. And I don't know where, I don't know how, I say Wall Street, you know, in the stock market business. I really don't know. We didn't have that type of communication where we communicated, my grandfather and I. I would show up and he would growl, probably because he just wanted to have a quiet life. He already raised his son. He didn't want to have to raise a grandson. And my dad was too busy working. So I think every time he saw me, I reminded him of the failure that was his son, because his son grew up deaf. And he just wanted to listen to the Mets on his little transistor radio. And he had those old man earplugs, you know, one earplug, no stereo. He listened to Ralph Kiner or Bob Murphy or Lindsey Nelson announce the Met games. So I would sit there in my bed, and I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but, you know, that's what we do here at Dumbing It Down with Dave. And I would talk to the belt buckle because it had this light, you know, that was reflecting. And I would say, hey, God, you know, this and that. And I had the imagination and I had the open-mindedness that I was kind of hoping that God would answer me back. And I got to be honest with you, I don't remember all the things I prayed for. You know, it's not like it's Santa, like it was a wish list. You know, I would just talk to him. And, you know, I don't know if I've announced that on the show, but I announced this on the show. But back in the day, I was a bedwetter. Yes, I was. And I would definitely ask to stop doing that because it was annoying. It was annoying. It wasn't like annoying and I'm laughing, you know, as a child. I'm like, you know, you wake up every day and there you are, you're soaking wet and you're sleeping on plastic, and your mom would always, you know, take the bed sheet and she'd wipe it up. And I don't know, I think there were some nights where I didn't, and we never knew why. Nobody could ever figure out why. And there was always these advertisements, maybe some of you remember, in the magazines and the newspapers where they would say, hey, you know, bedwetting. And I don't remember ever writing to that. For whatever reason, I never answered those ads. And I can't imagine what in the world I would have gotten in the mail. But I don't remember that. I just remember the ad saying, you know, want to stop bedwetting? You know, write to this, you know, whatever, Murray Hill, you know, New York, 60605, whatever it was. I don't remember. Somewhere out there's an old newspaper, an old magazine, and there's probably that advertisement. And I don't know what would happen if you wrote to it now, but probably nothing. So, yeah, so I would talk to God. I had this relationship, and I was hoping that things would get better, you know, but I just got older. I don't know. I mean, I did eventually stop wetting the bed. The last couple of weeks have been fantastic. So, where was I going with all this? To tell you the truth, the show started about 19 minutes ago. I kind of forgot. But one of the things I know that I wanted was friends. Now I remember. I just wanted friends. I just wanted to play. I really did. I don't know if you can go back that far. 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. And if you grew up in a neighborhood where you walked out your door and you had friends in the street, you know, Brooklyn was very big with the streets. So I don't know what the rest of the world is like. I don't know what it's like to live in Baltimore. I don't know what it's like to live in the suburbs in Idaho, California. I don't know, upstate New York. I don't know what it was like to grow up in those towns. I know what it was like when I saw it in the movies, or watching the Brady Bunch. It seemed like it was great to have a great backyard. We never saw the front of the Brady house, except, you know, when they were coming in from the commercial. They were always hanging out in the backyard. The garage had that pool table. Anyway, big backyard. They had their little patio. They had a little den, wood paneling. But I remember always asking for friends. I wanted to play. That's all I wanted to do was play. I had my cars that my mom would buy for me, I think, to make up for the fact that my father wasn't hanging out with me. I had my blocks. I had my Johnny Lightning. I had my Hot Wheels. I was more of a Matchbox guy. I loved my Hot Wheels, I think, but I really liked my Matchbox cars. I can't believe I don't have one box. That would be so great to have one box that I saved and it's in perfect condition. And then eventually I had my Aurora AFX, the motorized cars. But I would combine the blocks with the cars. I'd make a town. I would tell a story. I would do all these things on my parquet floor. And cold, comfortable though. And that's all I wanted. And I think that has a lot to do with what I would refer to as my lack of racism in my life. I always admit that I'm racist enough. In other words, I'm not perfect. I'm sure I've said things. I'm sure I've thought things. I don't think anybody should say they're not racist. You're racist enough. You could be 0.001 racist. You want to tell me you're not racist at all? Okay. Whatever. I'm not going to argue about it. But I just wanted to play. That's really all I wanted to do. And yeah, it would have been a magical moment if one day my father came home. And, frankly, my mother never did it either. But she was always cooking and cleaning or whatever she was doing. She gave me hugs and kisses and all that other stuff and made me food and whatever. Kissed the boo-boo, whatever. But got me a Band-Aid, all those good things. Got me Anison, whatever. St. Joseph's, for kids. Whatever. It's so ridiculous that they made St. Joseph's taste like candy because I would just fake having a headache so I could have a little candy. I didn't even like candy, but I liked St. Joseph's. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And it was pink too. So, I just wanted to play. So I think that has a lot to do with my lack of racism because everybody was a pal. What little time I spent outside at 1381 Linden Boulevard. And I don't know if you've had a chance to go on Google Maps and take a look at this 5 building apartment complex. 1371, 1371. There was 5 of them. Probably 61, 51, and 41. I don't even know. But I just wanted to play with cars. And then when I got my big wheel, I just wanted to ride my bike, my big wheel. And I can't wait to go back. I am going to go back one day, and I'm going to walk the property. It's probably one of the scariest things I could do. But yeah, I like to do that. I like to see what it looks like. I would love to ring the bell to 9K and say, hey, let me in the building and let me upstairs. I used to live here. But that'll probably never happen. But I do want to go back. But anyway, I just wanted to, do you remember that? You remember just wanting to play? Just want to play. I didn't even have G.I. Joes until much later. I had cars. That was my life, was cars. No wonder why I became a NASCAR fan, right? You think I would know more about cars, but I don't. I know enough. I don't know more. I probably know less. But I would have taken anybody for a friend, and I did. I had a friend named Louie. I don't remember what his last name was, but I do remember. I'm pretty sure he was Puerto Rican, and he lived in another building, so I couldn't just get on the elevator and go downstairs and upstairs and go visit Louie. I had to go outside. So I think that prevented Louie and I from being friends. Well, I think it also didn't help that my mother was deaf and Louie's mom wasn't deaf, so they weren't going to hang out. So I think part of this podcast, this point of view that I'm sharing with you, of course, it's not a honed point of view. I didn't sit there and write today. But I understand, and I know I got to be careful when I say this. I feel like I do understand discrimination. I feel like I do understand segregation. I do understand bias, I do understand a lot of the things that people are feeling today. I don't show it in anger, really. I don't think so. I don't think when I talk about things, those types of things, I mean, some things I do, I know I sound angry. Most things, whatever, I don't think I do. It doesn't really matter. But my point is that I feel like I grew up either, because my parents were deaf. So there was a segregation right there. It's like, we don't call the canyons, But, Louis and I were friends, and I don't know what his other friends were. I don't know who his mother's friends were, but I just remember, we'd see each other out there in the courtyard, and he'd have his big wheel, I have my big wheel, and we just burn laps, And I couldn't get enough of it until, my tires went flat. And if you remember anything about big wheels, when the tires went flat, they blew up. They would split because they were hollow. The wheels were hollow. What a great technique to get you to buy more big wheels, because you couldn't buy replacement wheels. You had to buy a whole new big wheel. So imagine that. Imagine I got to go to Harold and say, Dad, I'd like another big wheel, please. I don't even know how much they possibly could have costed back then. Of course, it was costed. Yeah, costed. How much they possibly could have cost back then. Everything's relative, but they probably cost a good penny. $10, $15, $20. I have no idea. This is the original yellow, big wheel. And whoever invented that, I got to look it up, because that guy's my hero. That guy's the greatest guy in the world. And so this is, for me, it's not at the George Floyd Aftermath show, but I did want to talk about what I'm talking about in the way I am, in a personal way. And I would like, if you could reflect, you want to share in the Spreaker box, share in the Spreaker box. You want to tweet me at Dumb with Dave, tweet me at Dumb with Dave. If you're not listening on Spreaker, which, so many of you are not, so many of you are on Spotify now. I'm watching the numbers. It's ridiculous. Apple, Stitcher, iTunes, whatever. Anyway, I don't know if you heard that, but my stomach just went brrr. But, email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. Some of you have been instant messaging me, and I appreciate all that. But if you could, the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, yeah, that would be great, because I like you. If you can help me disrupt the algorithm, I'm getting these messages. And I'm like, okay, thank you, but could you possibly put that in the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group? Which, by the way, I just renamed the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. It used to just be called Dumbing It Down with Dave, and the like page was the Dumbing It Down with Dave podcast. So I could have just left it like that, but I said, no, you know what? I'm going to change it. So I changed it to the Dumbing It Down with Dave group. So I don't want to sound selfish and unappreciative, but if you're going to comment or like, do it either here in the Spreaker box. If your app that you're listening to has it, do that. A comment section. Hopefully I'll get notified. If you're watching, listening to this on YouTube for whatever reason, comment on YouTube. But let's just try to keep that going, also in the Facebook group, Dumbing It Down with Dave group. You're sending me an instant message. Thank you, I guess, but, I just would, if you like the show so much, put it in the Facebook group where the whole world could see it. Post it on your timeline and then tag me or something, share, or tweet me, whatever. Yeah, I really appreciate it if you could help me out with that. And by the way, there's one more way. How about this? I can't believe I buried the lead. I forgot all about it. I had to pause the phone so I can go get the phone number. Hey, I have a phone number now, a hotline, the dumb line. You can leave me a message on the dumb line. Try to make it between 30 and 60 seconds and keep it clean. The number is 347-746-3862. 347-746-3862. That is 347-I-AM-DUMB. 347-I-AM-DUMB. Give me a call. I'll play your message. I might play your message on the show. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed.